All right. I'll give it a couple seconds because there was a
Yeah.
delay on YouTube for like 10 seconds, I think. So this is the
Right on. I'll check on the streams as well. Afternoon, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world.
We'll let it warm up.
YouTube is live.
Great.
You check on Twitter.
Live on TikTok as well. All right. This is the VeeFriends Comic Show edition. This is January 19th, 2024. I'm here with Jeremy.
Hey, everyone.
And it's me, DJ. I'm over here too. So today's show, on this format of the show, we're going to go through the week's comics so far and do a little recap, just kind of read through them, a little behind the scenes notes, things like that. Talk about the characters, how the feedback was from the community. And then today I'm going to draw a cynical cat and optimistic otter, maybe along while we're talking.
Ooh.
Gary's got some big ideas with those two characters, so I'm going to start diving into those guys and maybe just talk through a couple, just brainstorm maybe some ideas live. And then our question of the week is, how is your relationship with time? You know that this week's theme coming up into the Sunday strip is about your poor relationship with time.
Is it rich, poor, or something in between? Let us know in the comments.
That's right. Hey everybody, thanks for watching. Let's dive right into the comics. We're going to be live for about an hour today, and then I got to get back to drawing comics, you know. So what we're gonna do on this stream is like we will review the week's comics in full. So we're gonna start with Saturday, Sunday. So last Saturday's comic was our Mickey Mouse comic.
This one was a big hit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw a lot of reaction on this one.
Yeah, there was a lot of conversation. I got so many messages like, you can't use that version of Mickey, or the gloves versus the this versus the that, but it's all good. Especially that in the context of this is a satire as well. Like, you know, Mickey's not going to be a regular character inside the comic strip. We don't want to get too deep into the weeds of all that stuff. But yeah, in this comic, it was basically Mickey's looking for a new job because he's on the public domain now. And we introduced Mojo Mouse into the strip. He's got his little mouse office there, I guess. Is that that's kind of what I was going for. I don't know where this office is. Maybe it's at the VeeFriends headquarters. He's got a VeeFriends desk there. He's got all the cheese. And Mickey's crying, and Mojo's like, "Hey, why are you crying?" And it's the idea that Mickey feels abandoned by his old coworkers, so they don't care much about him anymore. And then Mojo Mouse is like consoling him, saying like, "That's your real problem," and handing him a tissue. And then it sounds to me like you don't need a job, you need new friends, right? I almost put VeeFriends on there, but I didn't want to be too on the nose. With it, so I changed it to green. Sometimes if it's like referring to, I don't know if I'm doing this on purpose. Sometimes I'll put the lettering in green because I'm like, of course it's VeeFriends, but
right.
And he's sharing the cheese, so he's sharing with his new friend. So
he's got plenty of mojo to pass around.
Yeah. This comic also makes me think of, like, I don't know, you have work friends at different jobs. It's probably the same where you think like when you're working with them, like we're gonna know each other forever, and then like they stop working there and they stop talking to you, and it's just like, oh man, like I like that person, and so try to keep your work friends real friends if you can.
Totally.
Then we move into the first Sunday comic here. I'm gonna go full screen if I can, just to.
Yeah, this one's fun.
Yeah, so we have the title card. So to explain the Sunday comic, it's a little bit bigger, just like a Sunday newspaper comic strip would be. And so there's more panels to play with. In this one, serious sperm whale, very upset about something, reading something on his phone. Turns out he's reading, bad news, some leaked text or whatever the drama is that week. And Rational Rattlesnake is like, I don't watch the news. He's like,
sorry.
Yeah, all right, sorry. Yeah. He's been like, oh, how are you not following this? This is breaking the internet. We probably all had these conversations. Like I know I've been involved in some conversations where I'm like not following the news or something because I'm just so focused on, drawing comics or something. But yeah, so we just kind of had the rational rattlesnake take center stage here and say like, you're wasting your energy. None of this will really affect your life. And I think I talked about this before, but I'm pretty proud of the word balloon coming out of the spout. It was just kind of something that one of those happy accidents, and in this he basically explains that hardworking wombat here, you could be like him instead of like worrying about whatever's going on. And he's like, what? He's just playing in the sand. And then we get into like what wombat's doing. So he ate a hearty breakfast. He journaled. By the way, the coffee is the Jolly Jacko.
Nice.
Trying to throw things like that in there for the.
And what a stack of pancakes.
That is. That's a hell of a stack of pancakes.
That takes some hard work to get through a stack like that.
Yeah, May told us that there's a meme on TikTok about perfect pancakes, or priceless pancakes.
I heard some of this. Yes.
Yeah. So, I think these pancakes are priceless because the wombat is eating them. So he journaled, meditated, and then launched his own, launched 2 e-commerce brands. So I have him wearing his own shirt. I was like, that's a good time to plug the shirts.
Yeah.
Got all the characters on the Comfort Collection.
You can get yours now at shop.VeeFriends.com.
This stream has been brought to you by.
I really do love how the shirts become like a pretty direct mood choice for the day. Like I wish I had like a full closet of them. So I'd be like, I'm gonna be patient today. I'm gonna be respectful. I'm gonna be this. It's like a cool way to broadcast where you're at.
Like an alphabetical order of 280 shirts.
Yeah, I'd need another closet for
that. Someday. Goals. So yeah, then we see like the payoff here is that, in just that little time of this strip, he's built this like magnificent, sandcastle. And also I'm pretty proud of this. No one mentioned this, but this sand Lamborghini.
I just saw that.
So I'm like, all right.
That's fancy.
He's overdoing it. But
he worked hard.
Yeah. So that was that one. Then we get into Monday strip. And this one, like, I got a lot of personal messages about this one. My son liked this one too. This was kind of our dream strip. Also, it was like a double thing because it acts as sort of like in a comic strip, you want to kind of reflect on some of the stories that have just happened. So we know about the bison and the catfish relationship. If you don't know, follow the comics. It's kind of an ongoing saga. Bison and the catfish. Here we're reviewing kind of the burglar. He's sleeping on the vibes. All of his clothing is also striped.
Naturally.
Yeah. Adam came up with a really funny idea in one of the brainstorms, and I don't want to give it away right now, but it has to do with his striped shirt, and I can't stop thinking about it. So it's probably going to make an appearance in future comics.
Nice.
But
can't wait.
Yeah, people were like, well, why is he dreaming of graduating? Or is he like, why does he mumble and stuff like that? It's like, it's not that he's stupid. It's just like maybe he does, like, the idea I think deeper on this one is that bad guys don't want to be bad guys, or like burglars don't want to be burglars really. They just fall into it, or they're like hoping to be something better. So that's our good burglar. And he's wearing the fox's necklace, if you're following the vibes, Beth. We have the penguin dreaming about flying. Very faded out is that the wand is actually saying LFG.
Oh, yeah, I missed that.
Threw that in there. It's very, very, very light. So that was a cute little panel. And then we've got the hardworking wombat again, and he's like, don't let your dreams stay dreams. He's been reading books and just staying up doing the work. And
what does it say on the floor there?
The floor says do the work. Yeah, it's kind of like subtle. Yeah, I think maybe he's reading books, of course, that are like, whatever, inspirational books, and maybe Crush It from Gary is on there. But yeah, that's a fun one. That was a fun one to do. Almost no words. Then we get back to the Vibe saga.
Call the monkey.
Yeah, so we've got the banana phone here. I don't know if anybody remembers. Some people remember the banana phone song, and some people don't. Sorry if I'm not sorry if you don't, because it does get stuck in your head. So that was kind of one of my goals, was to get that stuck in your head. So we got the monkey, moral monkey, as Gary calls him. He's kind of like the big brother of, like, from the Goonies, like Josh Brolin's character. Like, he kind of comes in to solve the problems that are like going on, without being a jerk. I guess Josh Brolin's character was kind of a jerk, but in the movie, but he said no jerk, just that kind of vibe. So yeah, the moral monkey gets called in. He's going to go and figure it out, and he's basically, giving the burglar a talking to here. And I'm kind of just going with the character mumbling like that, like, well, I'm sorry, Mr. Monkey, Mr. Monkey. Like, I don't know. People were like, "Was he talking broken English?" Like, I think in the notes for the character, there's a lot of mumbling, and like his sound, like he makes noises, like communicates through noises. So I thought, well, mumbles, is good. And then the reveal here is like, he just can't stop. So he's like, "You need to call your friends." And he's like, "Hey, isn't that my phone?" So he somehow stole the phone from the first strip. So he just can't stop. But also, it kind of calls back to, I don't like to over explain it, except for like in a show like this, but like, that's maybe why he was apologizing. Like, well, don't apologize to me. Like, why would you apologize to me? And then it's like, it turns out he was apologizing because he took your phone, dude. So little subtle things. Tuesday. Now we're on Tuesday's strip. Your poor relationship with time. So you all know where this is going. Is your biggest vulnerability? That's the question of the day too. Maybe we'll talk about that just for a minute while I'm drawing later here. What is your relationship with time? Do you feel like you have enough time? Do you manage your time well? Drop it in the chat. Let us know do you schedule? Are you a scheduled person? Do you feel like, oh man, I'm not getting enough stuff done? Are you putting weird deadlines on yourself? Like, you don't need to do that. What about you, Jeremy? Are you a very organized, by the book schedule?
No. It's something I've always had to work on. I'm much more organized now that I have, a management team. But for the 12 years before this, I was an independent artist. So
yeah,
it's constantly me, setting deadlines, missing deadlines, getting distracted, starting new hobbies, getting totally derailed by a good client that came in that needed all my attention. So I think, setting boundaries, managing time is one of my halves, like one of the things that constantly working to improve on. But it's also incredible what like a little change will do. Like, even just the fact that we have a team calendar that I can constantly kind of like ground myself in gives me enough structure to be like, okay, what do I want my week to look like? And not only do I get to communicate it to myself by having it in the calendar, but I communicate it to others, and it helps, me and the social team work more effectively. So that's been like a big step forward for me more recently, but I would not say it's in my nature.
Yeah, I find time blocking pretty good, but I also kind of have to, when you're creative or you're in a social role or dynamic role, it's just good to have that time blocking done, but then it can be adjustable, like,
of course,
some days are going to go
adaptable, right? Adaptable alien.
You got to be an adaptable alien. Yeah. So yeah, in this one, she's basically the organized ostrich. By the way, I forgot to put the, usually when the character appears the first time, I did forget to put the organized ostrich tag on this one. So that's my bad. Going too fast on that one. But she's basically saying like, hey, are you sure do you need a hand? Which is also funny because like she's got bird feather, you know. um, and she like the character is kind of like always thinks that there's enough time, but there's really, you know, she's gonna run out. And so the calendar, that's kind of where it popped in my head to like make the calendar a character. Like it's gonna pop up like I'm not sure if anybody remembers the movie like Better Off Dead, where like hot dogs and like inanimate objects were coming to life. I thought of that, you know, like if your calendar can like taunt you or egg you on, or, you know, what does your calendar do? What does your calendar say to you? Okay.
I think that, you know, another way that that's sort of fun in the context of VeeFriends, as, you know, naturally an inspiration off of Gary Vee's point of view on life and his content, is he often talks about expectations that people have for themselves. And I know we did like a story time with this character about, you know, people graduating or going to college at a certain age, getting married at a certain age, having kids at a certain age, where like, if that's right for you and that like really right for you, then great. But most of the time, those are artificial deadlines imposed upon us by a societal narrative. And so Gary always talks about like, who put that in your head? Like when you're saying to yourself, like, I'm not good enough, or I don't deserve this, or I don't have what it takes to do X, Y, or Z, that's usually going back to someone else's voice that you've assumed for yourself. So I kind of view the calendar that way, where maybe it is a separate character entirely, but it almost feels more like a projection of their mind, right? Like they talk to themselves through this idea of time in their head, as opposed to maybe a more self-aware type of relationship.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like I'm pretty organized, but there's times where it gets away from me. Running a daily comic strip, it's definitely, you have to keep on. I'm definitely more organized, way more organized, and to the point now than I have been in a long time.
So fun.
Here we have Likeable Leopard. This one was direct from Gary, basically you know, hey, make sure we do this comic with these two, and the overarching idea of, you know, here's the Penguin giving this great advice, which seems like it might be advice for like Wordle or something like that. And then I put some fake, you know, equations, except for the V5, you know, just queuing up. I thought must have, yeah, I put a piece of pizza there for no reason. And then persistence is more than just showing up. That's kind of the lesson in this comic. It's more about like having the drive to learn and research and try it again and fail. Just like that's kind of video games, right? Like you keep falling down that pit or whatever, and then you just keep doing it until you learn how to beat that level. Takes a lot of persistence. And then of course, Likeable Leopard is like, but how does all that advice help me with, you know, it helps me with Rabble, like Scrabble or Wordle or whatever, but how does it help me with Stinky Sprint, like some other game that's like not? And there we have the face slap, like the, oh my god, he's not getting it yet.
Yeah,
classic sigh.
Yeah, I kind of want to take that of the persistent penguin and make a sticker out of it.
Yeah,
like so I can just reply to different things.
Yeah.
Giving up too early.
Yeah, I'm keeping that. By the way, I mean, you guys probably have already noticed a little bit, but like I'm trying to keep the characters so that you guys can take them out and make memes or whatever you want for the
yeah. There's a ton of opportunity for that.
Okay, so that was yesterday's, and then today we have the introduction of new character or a side character. But here we have hardworking Wombat. This man showing up with a pink slip, putting Wombat on notice. Like, you've been put on notice. And by the way, I just kept like laughing when I was drawing this, like this cancellation, like someone's trying to cancel the hardworking Wombat or something.
Yeah.
Me. And Wombat would be so like, what's this about? Like, what do you mean? Like, but the idea that like all of his hard work is making the people around him look bad, and he's like like, who said that exactly? Like, and then it's bare minimum Bob.
It's me, your arch nemesis.
Yeah, it's bare minimum Bob, and like the red pen. I needed a foil here, and like, it was just, I didn't want to like blame any of the other VeeFriends. So like, I'm like, all right, this guy, everyone knows a guy like that, I guess maybe. He's making sure that everyone does the bare minimum, so we'll all be the same. And
the punchline here is so good.
Yeah,
I'm shocked you put in that much effort.
Yeah. Also, I just want to point out, these are just really silly background things, but they're at the lumber depot where they sell wood, and it's like wood, and then more wood, and then
extra
wood, and then all the wood. It's just silly. So that's, and we have tomorrow's comic done too, but I'm not going to show that one yet. I'll just give a sneak peek of that real fast. It's going to feature the duck, and you must decide.
Wow, I really love that render of the duck.
Yeah, decisive.
That is cool.
Yeah. So tune in tomorrow for that strip.
You must choose. Feels very Star Wars-esque.
Yeah, and I didn't prep my screen here, but Sunday's comic is going to be an epic one. I kind of did it on the other Deep Work streams.
You need to like gray out, conceal up some stuff.
Yeah, wait 1 second. Let me change my view to just me.
Yeah, we can.
I'll just do that real quick. I'll just turn off the lettering.
I'll even out with you. So.
All right. Let's see.
So just to reset the stream for everybody, thanks for joining us. I see folks on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and Facebook, LinkedIn as well. So I guess let's start. Say hello. What platform are you watching on? Just curious to hear from folks. This is the VeeFriends Comics Show. We just finished reviewing the last week of comics, which you can see on these same platforms, posted daily on Instagram, X, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, etc. Our question of the day for this stream is, what is your relationship with time? So we have a character called Your Poor Relationship with Time is Your Biggest Vulnerability. It's the young girl there, the redheaded right there that you might have seen. I can't wait for this one. This is going to be so fun.
Yeah.
Ooh. So we'd love to hear from you. Like, what's your relationship with time? Or maybe what are some things that you do to manage your time? Lynn says, I own my time. I own my life. I'm an ageless goddess and time is eternal. I love that energy. That's fantastic. And I think more folks should strive for that. And at the same time, on a practical level, like, time is fleeting, and how we engage with that, interact with it, matters. So we'd love to hear from you. What's your relationship to time? Is it as confident and everlasting as Lynn, or is it something on the other side of the spectrum, or something in between? Do you have a rich relationship with time or a poor relationship? Either way, we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, so here we've got the title card. So like for the Sundays, again, trying to do like an interesting title card. She's obviously tried to jump across some kind of Indiana Jones-esque rope bridge. So I'm gonna finish the coloring on this one today, and that's her falling into what I'm calling the pit of despair. Don't know what she's saying here yet, or I do, but you don't. And then her calendar's coming to save her, which that's not really reality, right? Your calendar can't really save you.
Nobody's coming to save you.
Right? Nobody's coming to save you. So it's very like, this is very action packed edition of the VeeFriends Sunday strip coming up. Okay, cool. So let's see what's next.
Gonna move into new characters?
Yeah, move into new characters. So today, if my iPad will let me open that would be great. There we go. Let's turn off this lettering. I don't need that. Don't need this. And so today I'm going to draw Cynical Cat and Optimistic Otter. So there are two characters that are going to be coming up a lot. We might feature them a lot more. Got a couple reference things over here just to look at. Interestingly enough, I went back and found some of the first times the cat was drawn and some of the old Gary content. which I thought was kind of an interesting version of like Heathcliff or Garfield or something like that.
Fun.
Interesting. So I don't have the other panel of that one. Here's Gary's original drawing of Cynical Cat. It's like version 1, V1.
Have you seen the draft of this character that's in Gary's office?
No.
Nope. I'm trying to remember. Maybe Jonathan or someone in the chat knows offhand. I want to say it's like Cautious Cat or something, but it looks very, very similar. It's hanging in his office right now.
I have. So another thing about Cynical Cat, it's not the first time I've drawn him, because I drew him in the submissions strip, like the submission to do the daily comic. I actually drew him in here. And I won't ruin that one because that's probably going to come up as like an actual strip that we'll put out. But I got to make it make sense. So we have to introduce him into the strip.
Yep.
And then Gary wants him to be like a lot more featured. So they'll be bouncing off each other, kind of like a Tom and Jerry sort of. Let me go into the right pencil layer here. So one of the ideas I had, this is what I do when I'm drawing small. I'm just going to draw like body shapes real quick. So he's got kind of an oval head and that teardrop body. If he's standing up straight, with big feet. And the classic cat tail. Yeah, there's slight variations from the the version 1s and the card art, and then even the t-shirt art. We'll look at that for a second too. I'm kind of like trying to look at all the different. We'll do this guy. And I'm gonna draw both of them together. So this is like the little sketch of basically their body composition. And I might even just shade it in just to kind of get the silhouette of the pose a little bit. And we'll go into Optimistic Otter. So we look at Optimistic Otter, by the way, when I was looking at this today, I'm like, this shirt looks mean.
Yeah, some of the CCC, I mean, most of them actually, they have a more competitive look.
Yeah. I'm like, this is an Optimistic Otter. He's looking like.
Yeah, there's an offensive. Optimism on the offense.
Okay. All right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So then we got the otter. He's got the similar like, not football head, but like oval head. But he's also got the eyebrows.
Little watermelon almost.
Yeah, like sort of like a watermelon, football shape. Also that body that, like, I don't know what to call them yet. They're kind of like avocado looking or something like that. But
I see that for sure.
I'm gonna just have him putting his hand up, like making a gesture like that. I also did draw the otter before too once in the submission strip, the big Sunday version of the submission strip. Maybe I'll pull that up and just take a look at how I threw so many characters into that strip. I thought we looked at it before, maybe not on this stream, but I pull it up occasionally to look at. So they got little ears. Right. So this will be like the poses. Those look like really rough sketches. I know if you're watching this for like the first time, but I'm going to change them into something better. But first I want to take a look way back at basically my Sunday submission strip, the first time I ever really drew the characters. I'm going to look at that real quick.
So
we have the otter. Oh, you never saw this?
I've seen a bit of it, but I've never seen it like this.
Yeah, we'll take a look at it because this exists out there. So we have the VeeFriends title card, Patient Panda, and this one was actually like the cartoonist. Like, it takes a lot of patience to draw comics, and there's the otter kind of hanging out there, and the cat, he's kind of hanging out with Cowboy back there, and they're all kind of like, the idea for this strip, because I didn't have anything to go off of, was that they're trying out for the comic strip. so optimistic artists like, I'll always bring a splash of cheer, or whatever, kind of flying in. So this is a concept we'll probably get to as well. Like Logical Lion and his he loves his charts, and here you can see that how we're trying to beat Peanuts and Garfield there. So have them crossed out. And there we go with Cynical Cat. It's kind of in there. So yeah, I've drawn Cynical Cat before, but for this stream I'm going to sketch him out now because I think next week they're going to be featured in one of the comics. So I'm going to go ahead and go to just the iPad. Well, maybe I'll just do iPad 2. That's good. All right. So I'll blow up the pose. Fade that out.
It's so cool to watch your process on these streams.
Yeah, one of the
shout out to all the 10 people hanging out with us on Friday afternoon, watching IP come to life in real time.
Oh, what did I do there? All right. I'm gonna close that. Just reopen my reference photos. I don't really need too much of, that'll do. But yeah,
Cynical Cat.
We had a lot of people watch the replay last week on YouTube.
Oh, great!
On the YouTube channel, and I think it was fun to watch. Just kind of like go through and look at read the comics that way too. It's an interesting way of putting out the
yeah. Thanks, John. Appreciate that. Good to see you, Derek. Thanks for watching. DJ is using an iPad Pro. I assume it's a relatively recent model.
Yeah, this is the 12.9.
Okay.
I think this, honestly, any iPad will do. Actually, I know some people that work on their iPad Airs. I didn't even know that iPad Air could work. Procreate is the program that I'm running in right now.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, speaking of Apple, I think today is the day that their Vision Pros go on resale, pre-order. The headset version. I can't wait to see those in the wild and see what that looks like. I mean, theoretically, that paired with an iPad could be amazing for visual artists.
Yeah, I think so. And I think I was even talking, like, this is just me talking out loud. This is nothing official for VeeFriends, but I'm like, characters in general, like, couldn't you imagine like putting on those glasses and like chilling out with
in a lounge with different VeeFriends, or like that takes me to so many different places. Like, you need some optimism in your life, and there's just an optimistic otter lounge you can jump into, get live advice, feedback. That would be wild.
Yeah, or like some sort of exclusive, like, I don't know, like it can even tell your surroundings. It's the craziest technology that we're getting into. Like, it can look at your surroundings, which could be scary. I don't know if to some people, but like if it knows the type of living room that you have, or smart, my friend and I were talking about how there's smart refrigerators that know the ingredients that are in your refrigerator and will tell you when to order new milk or whatever you need. But like, imagine like they're actually eating something that you have in your house. They're just on your couch eating like your snacks. So it'd be fun to. He's got the cancel symbol there. So obviously he's complaining about something, like, which I think that'll be a great. We have some foils, some heels characters in the strip, but it's not always about negativity. It's like, there might be a cynical person, but then like maybe they turn around and like, oh, you know what? Maybe that isn't so bad, or like. We always want to kind of try to put a nice positive spin on it, you know?
Right. Well, and also to, be, I guess we come back to adaptability a lot, right? Somebody who's cynical in a moment isn't necessarily cynical by nature, or even sometimes by choice. Sometimes it's a gut reaction for fear of something else.
Yeah.
There's layers to this.
Yeah, and also like who you surround yourself with. Like if you're hanging out with people that are just complaining all day or seeing the bad, the bad news, then you'll start to see the bad news as well a lot. I don't like that tail too much, but I'm not going to worry about it too much right now, but I'm just going to make it a little bit bigger. Maybe we'll ink that up. We'll ink these guys up. I like the idea. I'm toying with it. I don't know if I might do this or not. This might be a sneak. Is that if they were roommates, like force them to be roommates, optimistic otter and cynical cat. So there's so many different situations that, I don't know if you've ever had a roommate, but
I have several.
There's so many situations that optimism versus like things around the house, Did you eat my...
Totally. That's so funny. I mean, right. Yeah, I feel like in those instances, it's always a lack of or miscommunication. It's very rare that I've had a roommate situation where someone intentionally did something to like, like, I don't know, whatever, eat your lunch or leave the lights on or, leave a door open when the air conditioning is running, any, stuff like that. Usually just honest mistake. But then without the communication, you don't have the context and it's easy to jump to conclusions, especially if you've got other things going on in your life that maybe build up that thing. Like people tend to look for actions that give them a sense of control, right? And when you're living with someone, there's so many variables.
Not that it's a funny story. Well, it's not funny, but it's one of the most interesting roommate stories that I've heard. Was that I had friends that lived in New York, and they were friends, but then near the end, they just couldn't stand living together, and like every conversation I had with the one guy was like, oh, he leaves his toothpaste all over the sink and on. And then when he was moving, the other roommate was moving out. He had brought this couch in from the street in New York. Like it was a couch that was just on the street.
What a bold choice.
And he brought the couch in, and like the roommate was like, I can't believe he brought this couch in. And then he left the couch, and he's like, you got to take this couch with you. And he didn't take it or something. And then it turned out that the couch had ticks in it, and and he got Lyme disease from tick bites.
Oh man!
From the old roommate. I'm like, that is the worst roommate story I've ever heard. Like wow,
Yeah, it's a bummer.
That is a super bummer. But talk about nightmare roommate. Yeah.
I don't know if it's. Sometimes my memory is very fleeting. It's ironic because like my pseudonym is Jeremy Knows, and with the right trigger, I can pull up a lot of almost encyclopedic knowledge about various things. Like I often say that I know enough to be dangerous about a lot of things.
Okay.
As a dabbler of sorts, like right. I could detail for someone like the inner workings of blockchain as it relates to Polygon versus Ethereum versus Bitcoin and otherwise, but only to a degree. Like I don't read code, right? So it's like that. I know enough to be dangerous, and I feel like there's kind of a lot of hard work between knowing enough to be dangerous and like the journey toward expert. But my memory sort of operates like that, where if I'm trying to think of a bad experience with a roommate, nothing really comes to mind. But there's definitely been moments,
Yeah. So you'd be really good on a trivia team, is what you're saying? Like,
yes, for certain topics. There are certain topics that I have absolutely no cultural knowledge of, and other niche things that like I could rant for hours. It's just who I am.
yeah, I posted on my Twitter too, like just thinking about these characters. Like this week especially, like I dove in with like only a lot of surface knowledge of the characters, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Not a lot of deep dive, but this past week, I've been able to really deep dive behind the scenes into some like character bibles and like things like that. Like
I
really,
saw your post. People were like, "Tell us, DJ, tell us."
I can't do it.
Of course, they know that too, but it's fun to engage and
Yeah, but it's just so deep. Like I'm like, wow, this is like I'd hear something and be like, wow, that's some next level, genius stuff that just gets me super excited to be a part of it. And so yeah, I hope the fans, stick with it and watch it grow. It's going to be great. Even just hearing like context of like, there's so many characters, like we might not get to all these characters. Like that would be a Herculean task to feature all the characters, but it's okay because maybe we're thinking like really long term, which I really like. Like we're thinking even beyond maybe the time that we exist. Like hopefully these characters will exist far into the future without us.
Absolutely.
Right? So there's so many things to think about. Like we're just now at the beginning, even though it's been around a couple years now, right? Like we're really just at the beginning of building these.
Barely have started.
Yeah.
And yet some like amazing things have happened in that time, and yet like I think that's why so many people are excited about the comics, because it really speeds up the process of getting to more and more characters. Even though we might not get to all of them, say in the next year, we're going to see far more than we did last year. And if we can do that year over year, I think, especially as more different media rolls out with various characters, it's just all going to build on itself in a cool way.
Yeah, and we're definitely approaching all of this differently than I've come from traditional comics, even like web comics. You think it's innovative, but we're really bringing in a lot of we're looking at the data, we're looking at what resonates, but we don't just let that guide the ship. We also kind of think big picture with where things could go. We might be planting seeds right now that you'll remember 2 years from now and be like, I remember when they mentioned that in the comic strip.
Yes.
They said it.
Yeah.
I was there, like that's super cool. I can't think of anything like it that I've heard. A lot of creative teams. I know a lot of creative teams. I know a lot of publishers. I've never heard of doing a comic like this. So it's exciting to me as a creator to work in these ways, even with the brainstorm board and all the different ideas that we have, and it's really joy to work on.
Yeah, well, I think it's a huge benefit of the kind of building in public culture that is very native to the Web3 space, more so than traditional media companies. Like as we build out more and more entertainment with VeeFriends, we have a much more direct line of feedback than most new IPs, have the privilege to have, because they kind of build it in a silo and then release it and work on the feedback of that finished product, as opposed to this, which is so just like step by step kind of documenting building a global IP.
Yeah. And so, yeah, for people that are like wanting definitive answers on like the streams and like, or when will there be things in the future? Like, I think just kind of go with the flow. Next week, we're going to switch up some things. I think we're going to change the publishing schedule to like, we're going to try nighttime publishing on socials. So 9, I think. Right.
That's right.
And So you'll get your comic at night instead of the morning. We'll try that for a little while and just see how that goes. Um, and then also the deep work streams that I do will be on TikTok next week. So we're just going to do just TikTok instead of trying to go all across all the channels like we've been doing, just to test that. What else?
Cynical Cat's looking great, by the way.
Yeah, he looks really crisp. That's good.
I love that hand gesture.
Yeah.
Super smart for this character.
Yeah.
I feel like that's like a master gesture for them.
Yeah, for sure. Like they're making a point. Or I was thinking about that. The more I draw so many comics, like there's definitely universal shapes for the hands that you can do to
even beyond making a point. It is it's a derivative of the stop gesture.
Yeah.
Right. It's like simultaneous because they're like pushing the heel forward. It's this very like I'm taking control of this because I have an intellectual idea that I want to like defend or try to overpower you with. It's like there's not a lot of empathy in a gesture like that.
Right.
And then like, well, I'm receiving what you're saying, but I still like I still want to share my point of view. This is like stop in your tracks. I know what's right.
Right. And then there's even like that subtle bent, like not to get too deep, but like this optimistic otter's finger, there's a slight more energetic bend to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's sort of like maybe it's the same holding up a finger, but he's like, yes, but it's more like a positive stop, like a rebuttal.
And I mean, we can go really deep because like, well, number one, I think curves are more welcoming than straight lines.
Yeah.
So there's that, but also the placement of the gesture is very important. Like this is more like grounded, like the stop, but this is like I'm willing to entertain an idea up here, right?
Yeah. That's why I'm telling, like when I tell artists out there, like the eyes and then like figuring out facial expressions and the hands are the most important things. They're the most expressive things. Animators will, I don't want to go too off on a tangent, but animators will sometimes draw the hands and not the arms. Like they'll draw the face and then where the hands are, and then they'll connect the arms later. It's kind of an interesting, expressive storytelling.
It's making me want to go back to some studies of gesture I did in my theater training. One thing that I remember, an excerpt from a book was, it said it was talking about the inherent communicative value or quality of different gestures, just gesturing with different parts of the body, whether it's the arms, the legs, the hips, the chest, the head. And it said that the articulations of the face and the hands alone are too numerous to ever quantify.
Yeah.
You can quantify a little bit more like head positionings and things like that. If somebody's like looking at you with their chin out, it says something very different than if they're like chin, forehead or otherwise. But the hands and the face, they're so complex.
I heard something interesting at Vid Summit 2 years ago, and I can't get it out of my head. And once I say it, you probably won't be able to unsee it. People are always asking about Mr. Beast, like, oh, how do you become Mr. Beast or whatever, like Jimmy. And you look at his video and watch what he does with his hands. Like watch any Mr. Beast video and just pay attention. Don't look at his face anymore. Just watch his hands. And then you'll see, like, is it a pattern interrupt of what he's doing with his hands that makes people watch longer in a video?
Wait.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, check it out.
This is happening right
I don't know if you can share it. You could just pull one up when I'm finishing the otter. It's always like very like. So then there are some other creators that do this as well, very well. It's like it keeps your attention as a.
Wow, even just watching the preview of a video, like
you're never gonna unsee it once you see it.
And
you're gonna go,
active.
huh? I don't even know if he knows he's doing it, but Like,
yeah, it could just be like he's naturally developed that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he definitely. Yeah, I'm scrolling his page and watching, that first 5-second preview. That's super fascinating.
Yeah. So we were talking about it, and it's just something that I observed, and then I forget the other creator off the top of my head, but they started doing it as well, and they were like, "Yeah, my retention on videos went up higher." So for like the YouTube strategies and stuff, it's interesting to think about versus like talking head videos, or plus the storytelling, of course. Like,
yeah,
it's definitely telling a story, but you only have so many seconds to keep a person's attention, and
yeah. The science of attention in some of Jimmy's videos it's honestly created a whole new trend of its own in short form. As far like I feel like the things that he's talked about more recently that more and more people are integrating are, not just the first 10 seconds or the first 3 seconds, but literally the first second is just remarkable real estate that you have to be consciously using in your content. And also the payoff of the title and thumbnail as soon as possible. Where like if you say, the title of your video is like 5 ways to make $1 million in 2024, like you better give us those 5 ways as fast as possible so that we believe you and buy into the fact that you can deliver, and then we'll consider getting the detail, I guess, through the rest of the video.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of examples of that. And then once you see it, it's sort of like you just said, like you can't really unsee the way that builds immediate trust with your audience and buys them in for the next 2 or 3 seconds, and the next 2 or 3 seconds, and the next. So fascinating.
Yeah. So there's the 2 characters. I'm gonna,
amazing.
Since we just talked about the hand eye thing, I'm just gonna make this is gonna be a really fast one. I'm not even gonna. Just gonna kind of try to
a little playtime.
Yeah. We're gonna go ahead and just draw like a quick, determined looking cat face here. Right. And like what I said about not drawing the arms out would be, you're drawing the hands first. Right. Animators do this a lot. So like you've got the hands further away from the body, and then now that the swooping line just connecting the to give it the pose. And now you can kind of see like,
cool. Yep. Totally.
That maybe the body's there, and then you might go same thing with like a tail. You might throw the tail for like composition in your sketch, and then like if that's the tail, then that must be the butt. And then that must be the other leg,
like this comment from Nika is fun. That I love this. He said, I didn't know that I'd been learning about gestures and drawing comics when I bought my first NFT. So good. What's up, Nika? Thanks for hanging out.
Well, no matter what job you're in too, I tell everybody, like, learn to draw like simple things. Like learn to because if you're like, hey Jeremy, go up to the whiteboard and show us, write something, and then suddenly you're drawing like a rocket ship or something like going off. They might be like, whoa, like, wow. There's a book called Draw to Win by Dan Rome, and it's all like real simple, it's a bad rocket, guys, but don't worry about that.
Better than I would do.
Right. Like stick figures, getting those, like, if I told you to go to a board and you like just drew like that, that's what most people might do. But if you like learn to draw like the head and then the just like the body doing like a gesture,
a
real simple hand, that's pretty much like what Dan Rome is telling you to do. Like instead of, you know, like even those simple shapes kind of like get your
a whole nother level.
Yeah. Right. That's him saying so long. Yeah, it's a fun drawing's fun.
So, yeah, it really is. And it's fun to watch you draw.
Well, thanks. Well, there's going to be a lot more of it happening. So we're drawing every day. I'm not live streaming every day yet, but I imagine once we get into the deep work streams, when I'm here in a regular schedule, we'll be doing a lot of the more deep work streams here. So that's all I got today.
Do we have next week's schedule to share for folks? Or are we still locking that down? Are we going to
for the streams?
Yeah.
Yeah, I will be live on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Great.
From 12:05 to whenever. Or no, actually, I'm at 2. Sorry, I'm at 2 o'clock. So we'll have a graphic somewhere, I think, or we'll put it on the Twitter. But 2 o'clock live deep work streams next week on TikTok. And then I think Gary and I will be doing a show on Thursday, but it depends on his schedule too. So Gary might join on Thursday to do a little comic show live.
That would be awesome. So that'll be Thursday.
Yeah, on Thursday. And I believe that's at, well, let me just look real quick. I think that's 1 o'clock on Thursday. For now, I don't want to like lock it in because like his schedule can change.
Yeah, for sure.
That's good. He's got a lot more to do than just draw, write comics.
Well, VeeFriends are streaming nearly every day at this point between comics, Fanatics Live, and Twitter Spaces. So it's pretty fun to see this all come to life. Lynn, I see your comment here. Thanks for tuning in from Facebook. You absolutely can replay the stream on our YouTube at VeeFriends, VeeFriends. Oops, VeE, VEE Friends. On YouTube, you'll find this stream here. The deep work stream that DJ just mentioned on Monday is going to be TikTok only, so there won't be a replay like there will be for today's stream. But when we do these more comic shows on Fridays, where we're reviewing the previous week's comics and drawing new characters and talking about VeeFriends overall, those will be on YouTube and all other platforms like over on Facebook. And yes, you can watch the replay.
Yeah, so that's all I got for today. I'm going to jump into the other. Are there any other questions or anything like that? We'll give a couple seconds for.
Yeah, good call out. Last call for questions. Nothing right now. Steve's wood carving says, great to see and hear all this. Cheers. Anthony says, where can I see all of the comics in one place? That's a great question. The comics are not currently on a curated board publicly to view in order. But the easiest place would probably be VeeFriends Instagram. They're also on Twitter, but you're going to have to sift through more content. I guess I could probably call up Instagram and show this really quick. Glad you tuned in, Anthony. It's good to see you. So let me see. I haven't shared my screen before. Here we go. My screen up? Oh, I think it has to. I'm gonna take over.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. So here's VeeFriends on Instagram. VEE Friends. So you'll have to go back and maybe there's a conversation we can have around putting them in the highlights. We're actually doing some highlights now. So our first comic is back here, I guess. This one with Flex and Fox. And this is where Common Sense Cow and Humble Hedgehog help him see that he's broke because he has all these unnecessary subscriptions. So these are all in a carousel format, and then you can see the 4-panel at the end of it. So as you scroll up, you can see there's another one here with the Brave Bison. and so on and so forth. You should be able to tell where DJ's aesthetic style is coming in. So VeeFriends Instagram is probably the best place to find them at a glance.
Yeah. So I just built in the thanks for watching, but exit through the like button.
Nice. Yeah. Hit the like button on your way out, wherever you're watching. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Sure. You want to go the extra mile and you're not watching on YouTube and you want to give us a like on YouTube, that would be amazing. Go Blue, great to have you here. Thanks for hanging with us while you're doing your other things.
And, of course, share the comics.
Absolutely.
They're there every day. Share them up. That's a good way. I've been telling people on the deep streams too, is that if you love VeeFriends, it's a great way to share it out, to get it discovered by more and more people, so that we can help grow and spread the message. More happiness and positivity in the world, and more adventures from Cynical Cat and Optimistic Otter coming up.
And maybe even Bare Minimum Bob.
Maybe some more Bare Minimum Bob. Yeah, maybe if he shows up. He might not.
Yeah,
he may not. He's very upset right now, but I'm sure it'll pass.
Yeah. So at the bare minimum.
At the bare minimum, yeah.
It was great to hang out with you, DJ. This was a ton of fun. Shout out to everybody who stuck around. 17 people right now. Can't wait for that to be 1,700. One at a time. So fun.
Cool, man. We'll see you guys soon. And, back to the drawing board for me. My day's not done, so got to finish up Sunday's comic, and I hope you all tune in to see it this weekend.
See you next week, everybody.